Okay, we're taking a look at RetroSynth today, and I've been trying to figure out ways to expand this. I really like this synth. I think it sounds pretty great. I like the features, but it's not what I would call one of the most flexible or modular synths that we have out there, meaning we can't just in and of itself combine a lot of these different places to speak to each other. So for instance, I have a filter here, which I can control using the filter envelope. As long as I turn this knob up, it will do a certain amount. You can even invert it. But sometimes I want to delay this. That's where the modulator MIDI effect comes in. So I load that up on the same instrument channel as the RetroSynth. And now I can come through here with this envelope and I can say learn plugin parameter and then adjust any of these parameters using that module. So what I have right now is this one knob, the envelope amount knob for the filter, being controlled by a second envelope out here. That way, when I push a key, you can actually see the knob moving in conjunction with this envelope over there. And then it stays at that filter setting. Now over here on the trigger, what I wanted was a single trigger. That means for any key press, as long as you are holding keys after that, it will just do it that one time until you let go of all the keys and you start a first key, it will re-trigger that envelope. So that way when I play this, you'll hear the filter opening, closing, and then it'll stay at a more muted sound until I let go of the keys. And then it does it again. That's a really cool technique I like with some of the productions I do, because what's happening is that I get that initial little flourish, get to play a bunch of stuff in the background, and then at a certain point in that song, when something happens, I get to re-trigger that and keep it going. So a really cool way to add additional functionality into RetroSynth is using this modulation tool. So that's one thing we can do with this. Let's actually move this off the screen for a second. I'm going to add a second modulator, and you'll see here that the default is the LFO, and perhaps I actually want to come through and make some other changes here. So let's see, let's do this mix knob right here with the LFO. So I'm going to do learn plugin parameter. I'm going to touch that knob. Now it's going to go back and forth between the two. We can slow it down. Because there's a semitone difference, so it's actually doing a little bit of a pitch change. Let's go a little faster. Okay, so I kind of like how that adds a little bit of movement in there. Let's add another modulator. And for this one, let's come through here, turn on the flanger, and let's have the rate here be affected by the envelope out here. So learn plugin parameter, that one right there. And I'm having this one multi-triggered, which means that it's going to trigger every single time I do one of these notes. And also, let's do the output level to 100, see if that takes it all the way up. So that's too much. I do think the 50 is going to work better, just to add a subtle effect. Okay, so now you can see with these modulators, I'm adding more functionality to an instrument which didn't, inside of itself, have it. And so we can do that with almost any of our instruments, but this is a really cool way to expand the palette for some of these things which otherwise wouldn't have it, would be too limited. Now we can do some of this in here. We do have some modulation capabilities, just not like what I just showed you. Adding these few things in creates really cool sounds and something we can really do some creative things with. So don't forget the modulator as you're using some of these instruments.